Over to you, Ben.
Okay. Evening. Um, so tonight I thought instead of like doing a specific thing tonight, I just thought I'd tie you some flies that I've done well with over the season. So it's a bit of an eclectic mix. Some of them are tricky to tie, or trickier. Some of them are unbelievably simple because I'm more about catching fish than I am tying flies, so to speak. So I don't really want to spend 20 minutes at a vice only to throw it up a tree first cast
Exactly.
because it hurts. so, so I'm going to do from the sort of sublime to the ridiculous, to be honest. So I'm going to start with the easiest and probably the most controversial flies. You've seen it all before, but these are just two like variations that I've used over the last sort of few months, basically over the winter, to great effect. And they're along the sort of lines that everybody uses, but they're just slightly different.
Please.
And really, the main difference of them is the size. So, yeah, forgive me for tying these ones, but I caught an awful lot of fish on them, so I couldn't leave them out. Um, Let me just find the bits I need. I've got most of it set aside. So I'm not going to tell you what they are just yet because they'll be all become obvious in about 20 seconds. I'm running low on a lot of stuff, so you might have to forgive me every now and then.
You can top it all up with a BFFI.
There you go. So, the first pattern that I've caught a serious amount of fish on this winter is an egg. But it's a sort of egg with a slight difference in that it's easier to tie than most normal eggs. So, where's the camera? Here, all right, I've got a size 20 444 Fasna jig hook and a 2.5 mil pink bead. So it's diddly. And I think so in town where I live, we've got a nice bit of river. It's got plenty of grayling and trout in. The only problem with it is that it is fished so much. So it's hugely pressured. So if you go in with your normal flies, you hardly catch anything because it sees maggot and worm and fly fishermen and this and that. But because it's winter, because it's grayling, they still like their, pinks and oranges and things like that. So I had to keep on that sort of vein, but change it up slightly. So this is my egg pattern that I've been using. So I've just got a power thread here. As I say, 2.5 mil bead, size 20 jig hook, which is probably like a sort of size 18 normal sort of hook. And just get everything locked down. And then here, I've got a 3 mil squirmy material, the Fasna one in powder pink. And it's a really vibrant pink, and it's my favourite by a country mile. So all I'm doing is catching in this 3 mil, and I'm going about halfway down the shank, coming back up, and then I'm doing a couple of turns of this 3 mil pink till it's buttered up against the bead, and then I just tie it off. So, and then a whip finish.
That's nice and simple.
It's so simple. It's along the sort of, obviously the egg patterns that everyone knows and loves to hate. But as you can see, It's absolutely diddy, and I've caught an absolutely spectacular amount of fish on it in really, really, really pressured waters. So it's very, very effective. And then along those same lines, this is the other fly that I've used to great effect. Again, in these very, very pressured waters. And these have really come into their own in this last sort of week or so when we've had this extra rain. So about 5 or 6 days ago, our aquifers finally broke, and the river came up massively. It's carrying a bit of colour, so fishing that egg fly and then also fishing this has been really, really productive. So again, size 20 444. I've got a 2.5mm bead. This is a salmon pink. And then I've got some 1mm Fasna squirmy material, Squirmy Chenille. And this is just, all I'm doing is a squirmy. But again, I suppose it's kind of a micro squirmy. So neither of these flies are technical, but I have caught so many fish on them. Going behind people, fishing against bait fishermen and catching loads and loads of fish behind them. So just tying it in. I don't want it too big, so it's kind of about twice the length of the shank of the hook. And I was going to bring that up, position the bead correctly, and then bring it back down, just because I want to position the tail in the right place. Bring that back down, cinch it up, and then wrap that all the way up. And then tie it off. So again, it's a fly that everybody hates, but most people fish. But micro. So I think the fish just should throw caution to the wind. And as you can see, it's diddly, really, really small. So these two flies, super simple, super horrible, but catch an awful, awful lot of fish for me, especially at the moment with the coloured water. So I'm dropping. A lot of people ask me how I'm fishing such small flies, and essentially I drop tippet diameter to try and bring the flies down. Or if it's really flowing, I'll put a heavier fly on the point and then sit that middle dropper, and they'll lift to take it. At the moment, I wouldn't fish without one on. As horrible as they are, they catch an awful lot of fish. So at the moment, they're absolute go-tos for me. But in those sizes, and I'm out fishing the bigger stuff with those. So those are the two horrible ones out of the way. But they've caught me a lot of fish this year, so I had to include them. So we can get onto some other flies now. First of all, it's a stillwater pattern that I've been using a lot, and again, super simple to tie. I'm going to do two of them because these are the two that I've had most success on. So I've got size 8 Fasna 200 BL, and then a countersunk 3.8mm brass orange bead. Now I prefer brass on this pattern. I prefer brass on most of my streamers. because I want to fish them on a more even keel rather than with a tungsten bead where the fly does that. I think primarily because I think most people fish tungsten. So most of the time the fish see a fly do that nowadays. So if I can fish a similar fly like that, I think, again, they sort of throw caution to the wind a little bit more, and I've caught more fish on it. And it also means I have more control of where I want to fish it. So I use different lines to control the layers that I'm fishing at. I can get a lot more control with that than I can with the tungsten bead. So a lot of the time I fish brass. Again, this is just a power thread. Just get it started. You can super glue it if you want. I don't bother because I just go through super glue like crazy. And then, yeah, going to say again, super simple. Got a bit of white marabou, and then I'm just going to pull off a bit that I want. Trim the ends, and then I've just pulled some of the fibers off the ends so it's thinner, so I can keep the profile of the fly down a bit. Catch it in, tie it up, back down, just make sure it's all in nicely, and then I'll just pull it to length, pull off the marabou, a bit wobbly there, and then this stuff, which has been absolutely incredible for me. This is the Fasna Halo straggle. So this is the red core. Got a couple here. Show you them. So we got a sort of chartreuse core there. That's a fluory pink, fluory yellow. So there's a few colours. And the reason I love this stuff is it's so easy to use. It makes a fantastic fly and it's quite versatile. So as you can see, it's the core is dyed red on this one, and then the fritz, the flash is white. Now you can either, well, I'll tie it in and I'll show you. So I'll just catch it in, put it back. I tie it the whole length just to try and keep the fly, the body nice and flat. So now one option here is to put some dubbing on there, and then you can use this and do open turns down your fly, and it kind of acts as a rib. So you can actually use it as a ribbing material with a bit of flash, and it works really well. Or, which is what we're going to do on this fly, is I can just do touching turns all the way up the fly, and then it gives this beautiful sort of red body with a halo of fritz around it. So you've got the movement and the pulse in the water, and the fish just absolutely love it. And again, so simple to tie. You know, it's two materials. You don't really mind if you lose the odd one. So I just bring it up to the bead because it's 3.8 mil. I just do a couple of extra turns there. That gives me a little bit more bulk just behind the head to hold it in place and to give a bit of a better profile. Catch it in, tie it off, snip that.
I bet when it's wet, that red core stands out.
It does. Yeah, it really stands out. Couple of whip finishes. So yeah, as you say, that core really stands out. So what, I'll just go and get it wet so I can show you.
You coughing better, Derek?
Well, I feel better than I did.
Excellent.
So yeah, when it's all matted down, that core really comes through.
Yeah.
So really nice. And then, as I say, you got the sort of classic cat's whiskers colours, things like that. So you can fill your box up really quickly with a seriously effective fly.
What would you call it? A pink cat or something?
Yeah, just a, I don't know, Halo Taddy, call it something classy. And then the along that same line, this is another fly that caught a lot of fish on the other day. So I'm using the same hook and same bead. So I got the size 8 200s. Hopefully tight, smaller. 10 12s. So again, 3.8 mil brass in orange. Size 8. Still sticking with the power thread. Black marabou. So I'm going to do the same thing. Bunch it up. Trim off. Pull out some of the excess. Catch it in. And then I've got the Black Mosaic straggle fritz from Fasna. And just a lovely colour combo. Lovely length, fibre. So again, tying it in the whole length just to try and keep the profile similar. And then touching turns on the way down. And you can either just do it straight or you can pull the fibres back. Pulling the fibres back gives you a bit of a bulkier fly. Without pulling them back, it kind of mats some in, so it's sort of less bulky. But huge amount of movement in the water from this material. So it looks like you've got a really bulky fly in the water, but actually it's not. So when the fish take, there's nothing really to impede the hook. Catch that in. Take that off. Little whip finish.
That'll
Okay.
catch on all still waters, that well.
Oh yeah. Again, super simple, but because this material carries a lot in it, you're only having to use 2 materials, and really easy to tie again. 2 simple materials, but my God, that works. They do a few other fritzes, but that Black Mosaic is just fantastic, I think. Really good one. So There you go. 4 super simple fish catchers so far. Let's do that. Right, what next? So we're gonna keep on the sort of streamer side of life. This one that I'm going to tie, I tie from quite large to very, very small, depending on where I'm fishing it. It's a really good fly on the rivers for trout and everything. I've had perch on it, I've had chub. But yeah, just a really, really nice fly. Well, I'm going to tie you a smallish one. So got a jig hook. Not sure what this one is, but it's quite big. I do tie, as I say, I tie them on down to about a size 16 I can get away with, and then it gets a little bit too hard, to be honest. So this is probably a size 8 jig hook. I'm just going to marry it up. Again, a lot of my streamers have got orange beads. You can do this in a lot of color combos. This is a color combo that I've used to great effect because I think it's quite natural, but also with a splash of color. So I've got a 4mm orange slotted tungsten bead on there, and then because this I sort of jig a lot on the when I'm fishing them, I'll jig it. So I want this one to duck and dive. So I've just got a 4mm bead, and then a few wraps of lead just to help it get down. And then I'm going to use this is a 6.0 fire or fluoro orange thread. I'm just going to cover the lead. That's not going to go anywhere. Come down to where there is actually a barb on this one. And then I've got a micro splash fluoro orange dubbing. And you want a dub, you want quite a lot for dubbing. You want to overdub it. And you don't want anything too tight. So as you can see, we've got a really, really big, loose rope of dubbing. I'm just going to dub it quite loosely up the fly. And it looks horrendous at the moment, but there is a reason behind it. We then, this might be slightly big for this, but I've got a natural zonker strip. This one's pine squirrel, and I use it on the smaller ones, and then on the larger ones I'll go onto a rabbit if I want. And I'm just going to put the hook through the zonker strip. Put it round, put the fly back in, and then I turn the fly up so you can't see it. I'll tie it the other way around, but normally I tie this from now on sort of upside down. I won't tonight. So I then flatten the zonker strip and kind of catch it in. Snip that off. So I got that, just a strip of zonker underneath a bit of dubbing, and then I brush out this dubbing quite a lot and push it down. Now, as you can see, I wanted it loose, so I want that dubbing to almost extend the full length of that zonker strip. I want to make it quite prominent, and if you do a tight dubbing loop, you don't get enough dubbing brushed out, so you really want it very loose when you dub it up. Now, you can get kind of arty-farty here. You can, I've done legs and things like that, which is all fine, but, keeping it along the simple lines. Just going to put in a dubbing loop. A little bit of wax. And then get your zonker strip back. Put it into a clip. And then just pulling it out so it sits nicely. Trim off what you want. Now, again, at this point, you can put a bit of extra flash in, anything like that. But to be honest, I haven't found it made any difference to the sort of catching capabilities of the fly. So I think it's more to please us than the fish. So this is just keeping it really simple, quick ties. So I'm then putting that into the dubbing loop. Twisting it up. So you've got a nice bit there. And then put it round, pulling it back each time. Stack a couple at the head. And then tie it off, catch it in, tie it off.
Is that a Pettigene dubbing spinner?
It is, yeah. It is. I like them because I think it just gives me more control, so I can watch what it's doing to the material a bit more, and I can sort of loosen it rather than just spinning and going for it. I can control it. It takes a bit longer, but I much prefer this because I use dubbing loops an awful lot, and sometimes I want them really, really tight. Other times I don't want them quite as tight. This just gives me that control over it. Little whip finish. A little brush back. And in water, obviously, that sweeps back and that orange sort of comes through beautifully. Really, really, really realistically nice fly. So that's, a small one. That's a big one. Very, very easy to tie as long as you do a dubbing loop, and hugely effective. So this one's rabbit. So thicker, bigger. That's your pine squirrel. And as I say, catch pretty much anything that swims. And yeah, you can, color variations, all that, go nuts. But this orange and natural has been a really, really successful one for me.
It's like a halo around the orange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And actually in the water, it looks the same. So another one that I've done really well with, but not so much on the trout and things like that, but for perch, is red dubbing with a white rabbit. That's done really, really well. And then a red bead as well. Been fantastic. And then the other color combo that I tend to use a lot is like a pearl white dubbing and a black. And those three, you can't go wrong with those three colors. You'll catch pretty much anything on them. And again, quite easy to tie. There's nothing overly complicated about it. Dubbing loop can be tricky, but once you've got the hang of it, you can make those quite quickly. So, because you're bouncing them along the bottom primarily, so you're going to lose some. So yeah, you don't want to lose them.
When they're quick to tie, you don't mind, yeah.
Well, exactly that. It's a couple of minutes really, if not quicker. So yeah, you don't really mind. If you see that line, you think, oh, there's either a fish or a snag in there. If it's a snag, it doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, really, really effective. Nice streamer on that one. So what we got now? I'm going to stay on the sort of lure side of life, and this is one that I've done very well with, again on still waters and on rivers, and it's kind of a take on a classic. But again, I fish a lot of competitions and things like that, so quite often I'm fishing for really, really pressured fish. And it's when you're fishing for pressured fish don't change just because they're pressured, in that, there's no reason that if they ate something when they weren't pressured, they still want to eat it when they are pressured. They're just scared of eating it. I think that's the way you kind of got to look at it. So the way I fish is I want to offer what they want to eat, but I just need to offer it slightly differently to everyone else that's gone through before me. So this is along those lines as well. I'll show you them, but I tie this in two colors. So I've got a Fasna 520, and this is a size 16, and I tie these down to a 20, and it's basically a miniaturized still water hook, the 520. So for a small hook, it's got a really nice, quite a big gape. Yeah, but still very small. So I've got a size 16 hook, 520, large gape 16. I've got a 2.3 mil tungsten countersunk gold bead. Now, the reason I'm using tungsten on this one is because my beads are very, very small. So I'm not overly fussed about the weight. It doesn't sink anywhere near as quick as my sort of 3.8s would or something like that. So small gold bead. I've got the power thread back again. Just going to lay some thread down. Black marabou. No, because this is a much smaller fly, I don't need as much marabou. So I'm coming in with just a very small amount of marabou. Same process, trim the ends, pull the fibers out, catch it in, bring it up, bring it back down. So nice and small. And we're going to use, I've got a fine gold tinsel. And I'm just going to do one little bit down each side. I don't want to overly flash out the fly. So I'm just going to catch that in, fold it back, just hold them down each side, come down, trim that off. So I've only got one bit on each side. And then I've got a gold. This is Textreme Brill. So quite sparse fritz. Bring the thread back up, catch that in. Back down to the marabou. Back up. And then touching turns. All the way back up. Pull some of the fibres back. Do a couple of extra behind the bead. Catch that in. Tie it off. And that's it. So essentially, it's a mini Humungus. And the end of the day on a still water or on a river, that's a really, really, really effective fly, because it's kind of what they want to eat. They're just scared of eating them. And so yeah, got a couple of little ones that I use regularly. So we got the gold one, and got the silver version, silver and white, which is another killer. And this is kind of another good one, little sort of micro blue flash. So that's actually on a size 18. But so same lures, just shrunk essentially. And again, fish seem to throw caution to the wind a bit more when they're that small at the end of the day. I'm still water. I don't think I'd start with them. I think I'd start with my normal stuff, but certainly at the end of the day, dropping the leader diameter down to sort of 5-6 pound and fishing a couple of those, you should do really well. So I think that's the end of the sort of gaudy stuff. We're going to come back into some river stuff now. So this was my top fly on the river for most of the season, and it's just fantastic. I tie it in 3 sizes. I tie it in a 16, 18, 20. I use a 2.5mm bead on the 18. I use a 3 on the 16, and a 3 on the 2.5 on the 20, a 3 on the 18, and 3.5 on the 16. Where we at? So I've got a size 20, 444. Again, one of my favourite jig hooks. And onto this one, so I've got any left. .5mm silver bead. Countersunk tungsten. Silver is definitely the preferred colour on this one. I think I'm lying to you. I actually fish it on the size 20 is a 2mm. change that up. So size 20 is a 2. Size 18 is a 2.5. And size 16 is a 3. So size 20 with a 2mm bead.
Nice wide gape on them, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah, really nice gape on it.
Mm.
Doesn't kind of tuck it up. So first
Sorry,
show.
Ben.
Yep.
I missed the hook. What hook is that?
It's a Fasna 444.
Fasna 444.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just got a olive thread. Just tie in the bead. Now I want to keep this fly quite skinny because it's essentially a perdigon. So coq de Leon, 4 or 5 fibers. Measure it. You want about the length of the shank. Catch that in. Make sure it's all the right size, and then come down, making sure everything stays at the top. Snip that off. And I'm going to keep it that skinny. So I've gone down with the thread and I've come back up with the thread. I'm going to tie it off. And then come in with the black thread. That's the black thread in. That's about as far as I want to go down. Purple holographic tinsel. So I catch this on the top of the fly and catch it one turn, just put it down and then tie it in. So after that, put it back over, catch it in, and then because I'm keeping this fly skinny, I'll then tie it off. I'll pull that back, tie that off, and then run my scissors along the tinsel to cut it off. So as you can see, super skinny, and then a little bit of UV resin. And there you go. Go very small, but when there are olives around and things like that, hugely, hugely effective. And it's amazing how quickly that will cut through the water column because there's nothing on it. Just cuts through the water column quite quickly. So you can actually fish a 2 mil bead deeper than you can imagine. So really, really good. This summer when we had that low water, phenomenal. I did not go anywhere without this fly on if I wasn't dry fly fishing, obviously. But very, very simple. Again, what we got: 4 materials, 2 threads, cocktail and a bit of flash, and absolutely brilliant. Really, really good.
For that, Ben.
No, Stan.
Stan.
But I can show you. So here's, ignore that side. Here is one of my main boxes, and as you can see, most of them are super small and skinny, and these 4 have been my main ones this year. So I've got black and red with the gold bead. I've got that one that I just tied for you. As you can see, that's an empty row. Then this red and black one with the pink bead is fantastic on tannin stained waters. Not so good on the chalk streams. It works, but as soon as you get into a tannin stained water, phenomenal. And then this olive and gold. So it's an olive body, gold bead, and then a sort of gold rib. Again, everywhere. Those have been my 4 main flies this year. Brilliant flies. But the standout has been that olive and black one with the purple on the back. Just been absolutely fantastic.
Is that the smallest you tie them, Ben?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think if you get smaller, it's hard to work with, and if you turn over the stones and have a look, that size 20 in the Fasna, when you look at the body, it's not too far off everything, and so that's the main size for me. And then the next size up, if I want to cut through the water column a bit more, you can see I have filled this box a little bit, but that's the biggest size there. And I rarely use those. I'm not entirely sure why I've got them in the box. It's those 2 sizes. It's the 20 and the 18 that are really, really spot on. And I think
the 444 is quite a large 20, isn't it, compared to some?
Yeah, it's probably an 18 in other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking, when you hear some other people say they're having to go down to 22 on another hook, which is a lot smaller.
Yeah. I've
just wondered whether you fished any smaller than that.
I have fished it. That size seems to be the most effective size for me. I have gone down smaller, but that particular size, that size 20 in the 444, when it's tied, that just seems to be the size that they particularly prefer. And if I can fish it at all times, I will do. If I can get it down, if I can't get it down, then I'll jump a size up.
Thanks for that. Very informative, because gives me more confidence.
Yeah,
I thought the hook was a little bit larger than I wanted to go to, if you know what I mean.
No, it's like if you turn over stones, it's a pretty good size. It does represent most stuff, and I think as well, if you look at my fly boxes, there are certain flies that are tied in certain sizes because that's the particular size that it seems to work at. There are other flies where you can tie a myriad of sizes and it seems to work right the way through. But in certain patterns, it does seem to take a particular size. And I think for these sort of perdigons, the smaller the better, really, without going too small.
Yeah, no, I used to tie them on a smaller hook than that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was a 20. I think it was an 18, but they were smaller. And I haven't used the Fasna 444 20s, although I got a load of them here.
But that's
lovely hook.
Yeah, it's become my favourite. My two favourite hooks now are the 444 and then the 421s.
Yeah.
That look slightly odd, but my God, they hold fish. They're fantastic. So if I tie, I say, if I tie a pattern that I do 3 sizes in, I'll tie on like the 444s, and if I do a pattern with 2 sizes that are smaller, I'll 2 sizes, I'll go onto the 421s. So so these ones down here are the 421s, and then these are up onto the 444s. And again, 421s, and then but
That gives me confidence to tie a batch up on my hooks. I've been umming and ahhing whether what hook to use for it.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're really good hooks. Really, really good hooks. You won't be disappointed.
I use a lot of Fasna, and I say I've got a load of the F44s here.
Yeah.
And
there you go. I get a few people saying that the smaller ones bend out. I've had them bend out, but I've had them bend out on 5-6 pound fish. So they're not designed for that. They're designed for. You'll still get the majority of them in, but they're designed for smaller fish. So
I haven't had too much problem with the hooks bending out on Fasna.
No, the 421s are unbelievable. But as I say, the 444s, I've had clients hook a 10-pound brown in the test, and when we've landed it, but the hook's been, it's like, well, yeah, it's not actually designed for that. So,
I mean, a 10-pound fish will bend most hooks.
Yeah,
under 18, won't it?
Exactly that.
If you give it too much way.
Yeah. So lovely Perdigon hook. And I'm going to stick on the 444s at the moment because, as I say, at the moment they are my favourite hook. Now this fly has been with me a very short time, but it's got a place in my box now in 3 different patterns, and it was primarily because of one of the dubbings that Fasna do that I used on the Stillwaters lot, and I thought, well, actually, it could go well on some river stuff. So this is it's the rainbow dark violet, which is a sort of very, very, it's basically a black and a purple mix. And I tie 3 nymphs with it, and I will tie 2 for you. And then I'll just show you the third one because it's similar. So I've got them out now. So this is a size 20 444. I tie these in 3 sizes again, 20, 18, and 16. And on these, I do use the 3. I use 2.5 on the 20, and then a 3 on the 18, and a 3.5 on the 16. So I've got the 20 in here. I've got 2.5 mil bead. And I'm going to change that bead because I want to change the color. So this has been such a productive sort of series of flies for me. And I matched the bead. I got 3 patterns. They've all got 3 different beads, and I'll take you through them. So on this one, I've got a gold bead. So 2.5 mil slotted tungsten gold on a Fasna size 20 444. I'm using a black power thread on this one. So I'm just going to catch the thread in, make sure the bead just behaves. So this is the orange I've been using. As you can see, I am running out slightly. But a glow bright, 4 or 5 will do. So I've just got that stuff. It's a really nice orange colour, and I'm just going to catch it in up there, pull it back. So I've got 4 strands. Just cut it off. So I've got a nice little tag.
That's the glow break thread.
No, it's whatever that is, but it's similar to a sort of glow bright 4 or 5. Yeah, I got this from a haberdashery. I think it cost me about £2. It's fantastic.
I know. It's a rip-off light tie. Put the
Isn't it
word
just?
light tie on it.
Yeah. I've been using that about 2 years as well.
I got 2 miles of miler here, very fine miler on a spool.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever use it.
No, it's going to outlive me, that thing. So yeah, got my tag in. Red thread, red rib. So this is just a small red. Catch that in. So I've just put it on the top. Bring it up. And then back down. So this magic stuff. It's such a good dubbing.
That the Fasna one again.
Yeah, Fasna Spectra dub, and it's the rainbow dark violet.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, it's beautiful. So just a small amount of that.
Sammy's dubbings are superb, to be fair.
Really, really good. Yeah, really good. So little dubbing noodle, whatever you want to call it, on there. Bring it up. Wire wrapping the opposite direction to the way you dubbed. Catch the wire in. Break it off. Put CDT. So I would say just do the collar however it pleases you. I know some people tie in, some people do that. So all I'm doing is I'm pulling out the fibers so they sit fairly evenly, bringing that, catch what I want, trim off the feather. So I haven't got too much, just want a little bit really. And then, where's my thingy gone? See if I can split this one.
You only need a little bit for the movement.
Yeah, you don't exactly that. You don't want too much. No, it doesn't want to split. So I'll just do a little dubbing loop. Again, it's power thread, so it's not overly thick. But because it's power thread, you do need a little bit of wax. Bring in the most overpriced dubbing twister in the planet. Catch that in.
Have you tried the Hens micro thread?
No, haven't yet.
It's worth trying. It's like two strands
Oh, okay.
come off, so it splits
Yeah.
nice and flat.
Nice. I'll give it a go. So I've got a little CDC dubbing loop. And then just wrap that around. And I do pull the fibers back on this one. Camera's in the way. That's enough, so I'm just going to tie that off. And then tiny bit more dubbing.
That's going to be deadly for the grayling, I would have thought.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Just pull that back. Pull off the rest. I don't want too much there. And then just tie it off.
Once
That
again,
purple or lilac is absolutely deadly to grayling, isn't it?
This, as I say, I've used this dubbing for years on Stillwater stuff. I just thought, why not on river stuff? And been unbelievable. So pull that back, and then any overly long CDC fibers I'll just nip off, and that is that.
once
How do you
again,
get
have
on
you
with
got a
trout?
name for that?
Yeah, we have got a name for that. So that is the orange. My daughter's named it MLB. So that's the orange one. So I've been playing around with it for a long time. This seems to be the best combos. That's the gold with the orange tag. Then we run I'll show you the other tag one, and then I'll show you the third version we do. So then I run a pink tag, so that's a glow bright number 2 with a pink bead. And then I'll do the third version because it's a bit different. I'll tie the third version for you. But it's using, basically, this is the sort of the thing throughout. So again, I've got a size 20 444.
Have you tried it with the same colour bead as you used with the orange, but with a pink tail? Was there any difference?
Yeah, it seemed. Yeah, I mean, it not really, but it just sort of seemed to fit better. The pink bead with the pink tail didn't make a massive difference, but I have to say the orange with the gold did seem to be a particularly good. If I changed it to silver or something, I don't know whether the fish had seen it more or whatever, but that gold and the orange seemed to work really well together. So this is a silver bead, black again, size 20. This I tend to fish, so I actually have fished 3 of these at the same time. I fish all 3, so this one tends to be my point one when I'm fishing it. So got my thread down, and then it's 5 or 6 fibers of cocktail. Again, just catching that end to get the right length, going down. If it goes down, then just put a turn underneath it, just to lift the fibers back up. Cut that off. Same red wire as a rib. Patch that in. Small amount of the dubbing. Rib coming up the opposite way. Catch that in. break it off. Other half of the CDC feather that we just used. Same process. Dubbing loop. Wax. Just wipe that off. And then again, just a touch of the dubbing. Pull those back. Off. And there you go. So that's the, there you go. So same thing, but it's just Coq de Leon tail. So those are the three.
Would that be an orange MLB as well?
No, that's the MLB.
Yeah.
Ooh, there you go. That's the orange MLB.
Yeah.
There you go. And then that's the pink one. So those are the three colours that I've been doing. And yeah, they've been amazing. Really, really good.
What's the
Have they
MLB
been-
stand for, Ben?
Millie, Lucy, Ben. You can tell my girls have named it. That one, the one without the tag, the one with the Coq de Leon, the MLB, the generic one, been amazing for trout in the summer as well. You know, because I think again, it's kind of a dull fly, but it has got an element of flash with that sort of purple going throughout the body, and it's just been fantastic. Been such a good fish catcher. And then as the season's gone on, I've started to bring the tags in, and those three, as I say, quite often I've fished all three on a nymphing setup, and it's been fantastic. Really, really good. So yeah, highly recommend them. There you go. I'm trying to think what else. How much longer do you want?
It's entirely up to you, Ben.
All right. Well, I'll do two more flies. I'm going to do two dries for you. So this one is a sort of jazzed up version of an American style of pattern. I can't remember what they call it. It's a really good olive pattern. And I generally tie it in sort of 14s and 16s. So I've got this is I'm going to type bigger for you to see. So this is a 14 Fasna 100. And I've got 80 olive, although I do tie it in a couple of colours, but this particular one does really well in an olive, and you'll see why. So starting just behind the eye, I'm just going to come down about a third of the way down. And then going to take the tag off. Now I want to keep this fly relatively skinny. So I'll then a few 4 or 5 cocktail fibers and just going to catch them in. Should be about right. Bring my thread down. Stop there. And I've got this is a medium opal mirage tinsel. Small is probably easier, but I'm out of it. So catch it in, touching turns all the way up to about 3/4 of the way up. And then wrap it up the body. And then tie it off. Let that off. Now, I think the reason this fly does particularly well is because we're back to the same sort of thing in that it's something the fish recognise, and you might be fishing it in an olive hatch and there's lots of olivey things floating around, and this looks kind of like them, but the element of difference is this flashy body. And because it's an olive undertone, it's flashy without being too crazy. So I just got a grizzly hackle here, pulled off the bottom fibres, catching that in, start to top, and then hackle it. And I want quite a few turns in this. Tie that off. Now, I don't mind bits coming out the front because I'm just going to leave that in. I'll take it off. Sometimes I leave it in for this bit. Now wet my fingers and pull the hackles up. So once I've pulled them up, bring the thread. Not tried to demo this one yet. Underneath and round, and then back underneath, like a figure of 8, underneath the hackles. And then tie it off.
You're using this in a blue Dunhatch, are you?
Yeah. Now, any straggler, I'll just trim off. So, what that's done is you got no hackle underneath it, and you got everything on top. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a little bit of resin underneath it, just to make sure it doesn't get nobbled by trout's teeth. But if you look at it from the front,
That's it.
there you go. So it sits
That
beautifully.
That'll have a nice footprint.
Yeah, got a fantastic footprint. Really, really good. And it floats quite well as well because all your hackles are up. So it has been for me phenomenal, just phenomenal. And that flashy body is, you can see it flashing, but it's still olive, so it just does really, really well for me. I mean, it's such a good pattern, and I tie them in a, I've got a few sort of kind of got just a black one there and an olive without flash, a couple of different colours, and yeah, fantastic fly, really, really good. And the way that hackle sits, it changes completely how the fly sits, and the fish seem to love it.
Because all that hackle is on the top, you could use an oversized grizzle, couldn't you?
Yeah, you can. It's exactly that. You don't have to match it up too perfectly. And actually, almost the more you've got sat out the top, the better.
Yeah.
Because the fish don't see it anyway. So it's a great sighter for you. So yeah, such a good fly. Such good. And again, bloody simple to tie. It's a bit, don't get me wrong, that figure of eight can be a bit finicky. It'll take you a few goes to sort of work it out. But the tip on that is not to do too many. You can go down the road of, doing that before you know it, you've got a big build up. Really, it's probably 4, up, back, and that should have everything stuck out the top for you.
Everybody can tie in that tomorrow.
It's a brilliant fly and brilliant on still waters as well. And because you've got so much sort of hackle out the top, I don't mind using it on a still water with a slightly punchier leader because it actually can hold up pretty well. It's really pretty buoyant.
Is it pretty good under bright conditions as well, or dull conditions? Which works best?
I like it on both.
Okay.
I tie it in exactly the same without the flash. And my first fly that I use is the one with the flash. And then if I see them refuse it a couple of times, I'll drop onto the olive, just the straight olive body.
Okay.
Without the flash. So
Well, what I use, my blue done slightly different, but very similar in the way it is with colour. I do one for turbulent waters called the Devon Dumpling, and it is green glowbright down through the body.
Yeah.
And then a palmered blue dun hackle down through it.
Yeah.
With blue dun head on it.
Nice.
It's brilliant for turbulent waters as well.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely deadly, that fluorescent type glow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like, most flies, a kick of colour really can be the difference between no fish and 20 fish,
Yeah.
It's that it very rarely if I had to come off that onto the olive one. Very, very rarely. That with that flash seems to be the one for me. Yeah, and that tail, like I think the original pattern is just black thread and the sort of clump of hackle, and that's it with no tail, anything like that. And I've just adapted it to fit our sort of olives and things like that, and that's been the one for me. Really super skinny body, just fantastic.
Yeah, no, I tie my version with a tail and without a tail. And to be fair, it doesn't make any difference if I got a tail on it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's more for us, isn't it?
But I had to try it and see whether it made a difference, but it didn't seem to.
No. Yeah, it's a great fly. It's a really, really good fly. It's been fantastic this summer for me.
Well, I might tie some of those up as well because I reckon that'd be a good combo with what I use.
Yeah, and actually, I had some fish on it the other day. They started popping and put one of those on and took a fish straight away.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, no, good fly. Right, last fly, another dry, but this is sort of my indicator sedge. shall we say. So I've got a size 12 100 Fasna black power thread. Just going to layer base down. And then got just a little bit of white poly on. So tied in my poly on. Going grizzle hackle. Strip off the bottom. Tie that in. Make sure the body's nice and even. Then I've got a Fasna black squirrel dubbing, and this one's the peacock black, so there's a little bit of UV in there, a little bit of glitter, a little bit of dubbing. Bring that up, hackle it. So this is an indicator fly, so I want quite a chunk of hackle there. Got a lovely palmed body there. And then I was going to come into the top and just take off the hackles. Going to leave them everywhere else. Now, this fly started off life looking really beautiful with, you know, a deer hair, and it looked fantastic. And then I got bored of stacking deer hair on this fly. And I just went with poly on, and I didn't see any difference in the catch rate. So now I just use poly on because it's easier. So I've got a grey poly on, and I just do it so it lines up with the end of the white one. I'll just catch that in. So here's a little tip. So if you're struggling to pull your thread round because it's kicking out front, if you just twist your bobbin and then lift it, the thread then kicks out towards your fingers, so you can then come in and catch a lot easier. So got my grey one in there. Trim that. Let that down. And then I want to tie it back because I left quite a bit of room there. So tie it back for quite a big head, because then I'm coming in with my sighter. So just a bit of pink. which will go in front of the grey.
That's going to float all day, that is.
Oh, it does, yeah. And you don't even need to gink it up, to be honest, because you flick it and it's out again, it's dry again. And then I like a little bit of dabbing.
Plus, it'll last longer than deer hair.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, mind you, not with my fishing. I'll be in a bush at the same time a deer hair one would be.
Use the sighter for when you get it caught in a tree, do you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, easier to see.
I say it looks like you'd hardly need the sighter on the water.
No, you don't. It really does stand out quite nicely. So just a bit of dabbing in there, quite a lot. Tie it off. Get that off. Brush out. And there you go. Nice sort of caddisy duo thingy.
Be perfect with a little black buzzer under it.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I use it just as a single dry in sort of riffly water as well.
Yeah.
And it does very well. So yeah, just a really, really nice fly, and that will hold up quite a lot of tungsten as well, actually.
Yeah.
But as you say, yeah, I use it on still waters as well with buzzers underneath it. And you can always put another bit of, that's, for me, that's like a river one, still nice and sleek. You can always sort of double down on the poly yarn at the front and the back and just give it even more buoyancy. But yeah, it's been a really, really good pattern for me. And again, pretty quick tie. Nothing overly complicated about it. So yeah, there you go. Those have been my most successful flies of this year.
Has anybody got any questions for Ben?
There you go.
No, they're all quiet.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Ben.
That's all right.
Thanks.
No problems.
Thanks very much, Ben. Really good flies tonight.
Thank you very much indeed, mate.
Cheers.
Excellent.
Cheers now.
That's all right. And so hopefully most people will be able to tie them. So there.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks, Ben.
Cheers. Thank you.